Welcome to Hooked on Outdoors. Today we're going to be doing a tackle tour. As you can see right in the background here, this is my kayak that I caught that big bass off of. And I'm going to just show you kind of what stuff I use on a daily basis, what like I pretty much bring anywhere and I catch fish anywhere with it. Stuff that I bought, don't really use anymore. But I'm going to start out with my camera gear. I'm running a GoPro Hero 8, as you can see. I bought it with the 2 extra batteries on Walmart. And then I had the fly tying kit, and whenever I used all the hooks out of it, I put my SD cards in there for my camera. I have 2 128 gigs and then a 132 gig SD card. I have an extra one of these in case this comes off my little chest mount there. I have the wipe to clear that. I have an extra one of these pins because whenever I was watching videos on the GoPros, people said that could happen a lot. I have 2 extra batteries. There's one already in it, plus an SD card, so I have 3 SD cards overall. I have this in here. Whenever I'm going to use it, I just take that out. But I use this just because it's waterproof. As you can see, I got a fly fishing thing, and then the GoPro. This was pretty cheap on Walmart. I usually put my phone in here then, too, and I don't have to worry about if I flip my kayak or I drop my backpack in the water for some reason, if that would happen. If I would have ever break my camera, like I don't have to worry about that. All right, next I'm going to go into my rods and my reels. All right, so I don't really have any rods. I don't have a whole lot of rods and reels yet. I've been fishing for, this is my 4th spring I've been fishing for. So I've been fishing for a pretty decent time, and I've been able to get everything done with just the 4 rods and reels I have. I have 2 spinning, a bait casting, and then 1 fly fishing combo. Here's a rod that I never get to use, is because this is a catfishing and carp fishing rod. It is a Berkley Big Game. I bought this. I have a steel leader on here for some odd reason. This came with the 20-pound monofilament that was already on it. This rod and reel is not that great, but if you want to go catfishing, carp fishing for pretty cheap, it's definitely not that bad of a rod and reel to do that. But I never really use it because I bought it for a heavy rod, because this is the next rod I'm going to get into. Let me move this. But I started off with this rod and reel. It's an Ugly Stik GX2. It's a medium 6 foot. Oh, I didn't go for that. The Berkley Big Game is a medium 7 foot, but it's pretty sturdy right near like the base of it, and then the farther you go up, it gets weaker and weaker. It's a pretty flimsy rod, actually. It's a 6 to 15-pound line, medium 6 foot. I have a net head on here right now, but I've been able to almost catch every freshwater fish that I've ever caught: catfish, carp, trout, or not carp, sorry, catfish, trout, bass, all that kind of stuff I've been able to just do with this rod, an 8-pound line. I don't throw super heavy lures all the time, but whenever I do, or just whenever I feel like taking my bait caster out, this is what I use pretty much just for bass. And if I'm ever deep fishing or anything like that, or moving fishing, pretty much if I'm finesse fishing, I'm either going to be using this rod or my Ugly Stik GX2 over here, and then that's my backpack and stuff over there. This has 20-pound X5 Berkley braid. It's actually done pretty good over the years that I've had it, which is about a year now that I've had a bait caster. I'm running to 15-pound fluoro line. Again, it's Berkley. I buy a lot of Berkley soft plastics and a lot of Berkley line because it's just cheap, extremely good stuff. This is going to be a Abu Garcia Max Ultra. I think it's a combo, and I'm not sure if you can get it separate things. Let's see if you can see that. All right, I don't think it's gonna focus, but it's a 7 foot medium heavy 3/8 to 3/4 ounce lures, 10 to 20-pound line. I don't know what happened there, but I'm always running rod socks on my good rods just to extend their life. Let's not break our eyelets up before we can even get to the water. All right, if I can. All right, so the story behind this rod and reel, which is a fly rod, it's a Cortland rod cover. And I got, this is actually a TFO rod. Right now I have a sandworm worm and I think it's a pheasant tail on there. But it's a 4-piece, I'm not gonna get everything out, but it's an old reel. My grandpa gave me this reel. And it's not bad, it just doesn't have a whole lot of drag to it, but it gets the job done. This is a TFO 9' 5" weight fly rod. And I haven't caught a whole lot on this thing so far. And I've had it for about a year as well. But last year I wasn't too into fly fishing, just because I kind of only fish dry flies. Now I'm getting into nymphing, which is extremely fun, and I've already done better with nymphing than I have for dry flies, for rainbows and brooks and browns. All right, now we're gonna get on to the, all right, so now I'm gonna go over my tackle in my bags, but I'm gonna start off with the fly fishing thing. Again, like you saw, I don't really have a whole lot of rods and reels, and I've went over also my camera gear, so that's out the way. Now you're just looking at the tackle part of the video. All right, so we're gonna start with my fly fishing thing. I only bring this pack with me because it's like a fanny pack, but you can put it on your back, which is what I do. And in this compartment, I have my headlamp. As you can see, it's a pretty cheap headlamp, but it gets the job done if you're ever fly fishing right before night and right in the morning. This is gonna be my streamer box. I do not, well, streamer and poppers, sorry. I do not have a whole lot of streamers and poppers as of yet. I tie my own flies, and some of these are gonna be store-bought, but I don't have a whole lot of store-bought flies anymore. But this is gonna be my main trout fly box. And as you can see, I've tied a lot of flies. Here you got, sorry. Let me move this. Here you got pheasant tails, bead head, and ones without the bead. Here you got hare's ear, with and without the bead. Then you have half of this is going to be prince nymphs. I need to get some furnace feathers, so furnace hackle feathers. So I can't make the pheasants, or not the pheasant tail, the prince nymphs and the zug bugs. Sorry, I had a blank right there. But half of this is going to be zug bugs, which is, I've made 2 already. And then these 3 slots are going to be all prince nymphs over here, because they're pretty simple, and I thought I'd just give it a little bit of a change up. So this and over is going to be all my copper johns. These 3 are gold johns. Sorry. These 3 are gold johns, or they're just gold copper johns. These are silver copper johns, and then these are green copper johns. These are zebra nymphs, I think they're called. Zebra midge nymphs or something like that. And then I got this side with like my homemade scuds, because usually people use like that clear backing to them. I just use turkey feather. You have over here is going to be a waltz worm, and then this is waltz worm with the collar on them. Then these are brassies in different size, but I ran out of scud hooks. This is just going to be a bunch of random nymphs. You can see like a glow bug right here, some like green weenies with like chenille worms, sandworm worms. I have that one missing because you saw it on my fly rod. This is terrestrials. This is a beetle, grasshopper, just some random dry flies. I need to move these down here. Griffith's gnat, royal wolf. These are homemade green drake patterns. Just these mayfly imitations, parachute and non-parachute atoms, elk hair caddis, deer hair caddis. Pretty much everything you're going to want to bring with you. I still need to do this side of the box because I wanted to add like a row or 2 of emerger flies. But this is nymphs, this is dry flies, this is emergers. That's kind of how I'm going to do it, so I can really utilize this box as well as it could be. All right, now that I'm done with the fly fishing section, you're going to go on to the normal bass fishing, crappie fishing, trout, everything tackle that I have. All right, this is probably my least used box. It's just a bunch of big spoons. I have some Mepps Cyclones in different colors here, and then some Danielson. They're really cheap spoons, but I got them whenever I was just trying to fill my tackle box with stuff that could be used. I never use this box. This is for like pike, muskie, striper, big fish. All right, now this is my catch them all box. If I could bring one box, it would probably be this thing. It has a bunch of trout-sized spinners. As you can see, some small crankbaits, some beetle spins, some spoons. You got weedless minnow spoons, Mep Cyclones, all that kind of stuff. Bigger spinners, so you could so I wouldn't have to put the bigger spinners in here and get all stuck. You have some marabou hair jigs, some swim baits, Roadrunners, Berkley minnows, and then hair jigs. These are one of the most underrated multi-species lure of all time. All right, this is probably the most least interesting box that I have, but one of the most used. This is my terminal tackle, hooks, sinkers, more hooks, jig heads, beads, wacky rig hooks with rubber O-rings and bobber stops, drop shot weights, just some random hooks, EWGs. We're going to move quickly past this one because this is not that impressive of a box. All right, now we're going to move on to my main bass stuff. Now, ignore this right here because that should be over in my Catch 'em All box, but I just put them in here so I didn't have to carry the Catch 'em All box because we're going to go bass fishing. Two Frogs. This is an Ozark Trail one. It works pretty good. I haven't caught a fish on it, but it looks pretty good in the water. We got some jerk baits, some XPS brand, which is one of the most underrated brands of all time. I know it's Bass Pro Shops, but they look pretty good for the price. Some Lucky Craft. Got some Cotton Cordell rattle traps. Some top water baits like Whopper Ploppers and Poppers. Some crankbaits. This is probably I don't use hard baits a whole lot, just simply because they're not that good, in my opinion. I do much better with soft plastics, such like soft plastic swim baits and all that kind of stuff. All right, now this is the tackle bag I have. It isn't that good, but it gets the job done. I do need to get a new backpack because this thing's kind of falling apart on me. Let me open this. All right, let's first go on to our side pocket here for water bottles. This is all the stuff that I have in here. Got my toenail clippers for cutting line, cutting up bait, plus cutting up braid. If I have a small fish and I have a small hook in it, I'll use these. If I have a bigger hook, like a bass, then I'll use these. All right, now I'm gonna into my top bag, or into my top. All right, here's some scents. I have Berkley Power Bait Bass Attractant. I have Dip and Glow Garlic Chartreuse thing. And then I have Nightcrawler Bait Wax. This stuff's pretty good for trout. I've used it quite a bit on spinners, and I feel like I do better with trout. I always like to add a bit of attractant to my soft plastics. If they have it or not, I don't. You just never know. And if it's good or not, I trust this Berkley Power Bait Bass Attractant pretty well. It doesn't seem to catch bigger ones. It will catch bigger ones, but it doesn't seem to just improve on the bigger ones. It seems to catch a lot more smaller fish that just hold on for a second. All right, now, this is a pencil bag that I've used for my spinner baits and my jigs. As you can see, let me just rip all these out here. Yeah, it works pretty good. I've never had a hook go through this. I got a black and blue jig, pumpkin and green jig, a Lunker Hunt. This is a Clearwater jig. I think it's a Berkley or I'm not exactly sure what brand this is, but it's a buzz bait with this little flapper at the top. It makes a lot more noise. This is a smaller spinner bait. And this is my last chatterbait. I just actually lost a chatterbait today. If I can get that to focus. Yeah, this is a gold blade. I had a silver blade bluegill pattern, but I just lost it today. So that's rip. All right, now let's go to that was actually my second pouch, I guess. Let's go through my soft plastics. As you can see, I have a lot, and this isn't even all of it. As you can see, some Googan. That's a pretty popular company right now. I have my little hot take on Googan, by the way. If I can get this out of here. But I should do this basically to organize it so I don't have bags everywhere. Now this is where I start catching a lot of fish. These XPS Speed Shads, they're actually extremely good. I've caught fish on them. I've caught about 5 bass so far. I haven't used these a whole lot, but I seem to get a lot of bass on them. And a lot of follow-ins as well. This is just a random bag of these little worms with small curly tails on them, so let's just get past that. Now this is probably the best craw imitation I've ever used. It's a Berkley Pit Boss and Skeets Hot Craw. Let me pull out one of these for you. I think what really works with these baits is it's that natural color, and whenever it's on the ground here, it pops, and it gets that red flash, which is still a pretty natural color for a crawfish, but it gets that little bit brighter color. I've caught a lot of fish whenever no fish seems to want to bite. Alright, now let's go on to these culprit worms. I haven't even used these yet because I literally just bought them. They're 6-inch culprit, red shad, green flake. Tell me if you've ever had any luck on these. This is another bag of random soft plastics. You can tell I have like the ribbon tail soft plastics, like culprit probably. Actually, they're probably cream soft plastics. Just a bunch of random soft plastics that I was given. They're old soft plastic too. Just like this. A bunch of old soft plastics, old tubes, old ribbon tail worms, all that kind of stuff. Here is an extremely good shaky head bait. It's a finesse worm and June bug chartreuse. There's that chartreuse tail on it. I really like Zoom baits. I got 20 of these for probably, I don't even know, probably about $8. This is my wacky rig kit. I have my little wacky rig tool and my wacky rig, or my wacky rings, I guess I should call them. I have Baby Bass Lunker Sticks, I think they're called, but they're by Lunker Hunt. They're pretty cheap, and they're actually extremely good. I've caught a lot of fish. Actually, my personal best, which is the video right before this, I'm pretty sure. That's what I caught this on, or that's what I caught it on, was a 6-inch that I cut down to 5-inch on these Baby Bass colored Lunker sticks. This is just a yum worm. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I don't have the package because I used to just put these in tackle boxes, and now I don't. Let's go on to my Ned rig. It's a Z-Man Finesse TRD Drew's Craw Ned rig. What can I say? Ned rig is a Ned rig. I haven't done a whole lot on them, but people seem to like them. Here's my other bait. This is for darker water. It's California Craw. It's a Rattling Ned by Guggen. I haven't caught anything on these either, but they have very loud rattle, and I'm sure in dark stained water this would be extremely good. Here's some Guggen baits. Kraken Craw and Summer Craw. These are extremely expensive, and they're extremely soft. Guggen baits aren't bad. They catch fish, but man, they're so much money for how weak they are. This is probably my favorite Guggen bait. It's a trench hog. It's a 7 for 6 of them, or 7 pack for $6. That's how expensive these Guggen baits are. This is watermelon red flake. It's a good classic color. But I like the bigger presentation if you're going bed fishing. This is my favorite Guggen bait right here. But again, it's super duper soft. Alright, let's just get past all the Guggens. This is Bandito Bug. Again, 7 of them for $6. That's almost $1 per soft plastic. And Okeechobee Craw. It's not bad. I think I got a little bit bad color for the clear water that I'm usually fishing. But it's not bad. Again, it looks good in the water, but extremely soft. Alright. Now, I went fishing today and only caught one small one. And this is what it was on. It was a 3.5 Pro Model Tube, Watermelon Red Flake. These are extremely good for smallmouth. Up on like Lake Erie and stuff like that, Presque Isle Bay, these do really good up there. Here's those Lunker Hunt Lunker sticks. This is in squash color. It's again just a good natural color. Yeah, they're not bad, but they're pretty. As you can see, I cut a little bit off sometime because these are 6-inch Senkos. I cut a little bit off to make them 5-inch. That's probably a little bit more than an inch, I'd say, but yeah, they're not bad. They're pretty cheap. Here's my swim baits. I bought a whole thing of swim baits, and my dad bought a whole thing of swim baits, and we traded so we could have like half of each. This is 2.8, and this is 3.3 inch. Again, they're not bad. They're not bad. Let me go through. This is the scale I'm running. It's a 50-pound Rapala. I haven't even got, again, because whenever I bought those culprit worms, I got this as well, because I need a scale. Because I didn't have a scale to weigh that big fish. I've always had these. These are extremely I've never lost a fish on these, so. Here's my bobbers. Slip bobber is an extremely good tactic for crappie and bass. Here is my small lure box. If I just want to go out for crappie, anything that will bite trout, my blade baits, my small jerk baits and small crankbaits, this is a little bit bigger of a crankbait, and my small rattle traps. It's like a cicada lure. This is a grasshopper, literally just one treble hook on this bait right here. If I can get it. This is a bluegill killer. I get this bait. Alright, you can see it. It's a small lure. I think it's by Yo-Zuri. It's not that big of a brand. These are small Rapala jerkbaits. I think everyone's heard of these. These are really good for trout, really good for smallmouth. This is a deep diving Lucky Craft crankbait. I've done extremely good for crappie on this. Small rattle trap by Rapala and Fire Tiger. A small popper and a small jerk bait. Alright, I'll just push that off to the side. I don't know why this is down here, but everyone's got to have some Super Fluke Juniors in their thing. This is in White Pearl. These are really good looking, and these catch a lot of good bass on them too. It just looks like what a jerkbait would, but it's just soft plastic, so it can be weedless. I got this as a birthday present. I haven't even got to use these yet, but my brother has, and he's caught fish on them. Sorry for my fingers in the cam, because I'm using my phone for this. These are really good for trout and bluegill. If you just want to catch some bait bluegill, these catch small bluegill, and they're really good. All right, now this is just my line. I don't have a whole lot of line. I have a thing of 8-pound mono, or no, I have 2 things of 8-pound mono, 14-pound fluorocarbon, 14-pound mono, and then I have 12-pound mono as well. As you can see, I don't got nothing else in here, I don't think. Pretty sure. Let me just see. Oh, I do. I have a tape measure, but that's not that important. Here's another thing of soft plastics I just realized was behind me. I bought these like a while ago, and I only ever caught 1 fish on them. But I didn't know how to fish a Texas rig at the time. I was popping it way too high. That bait was probably going about 5 feet up in the air. Alright, here's another one of my vast tackle boxes. This is kind of the stuff that I don't use a whole lot. It's going to be a hula popper, a hollow body frog, but it's a popper. I haven't done good on that, but I've done good on the walking frogs. Here's a torpedo. Here's 2 good crankbaits by KVD, but they're way too big. I don't know why. This is whenever I was beginning fishing, is a lot of this stuff. Here's some cheap spinner baits and a white jig. This is good for bed fishing, actually. But this is by a really cheap brand, and the hooks are really bad. Here's 2 rattle traps. This is not a bad color, but it's in the 1/2 ounce model, so it's a little bit too big, and it sinks way too fast. That's not a bad color, but doesn't really do good around here. So, I don't know. It just doesn't really seem to do good. Now, these are only in here simply because they're way too big. This is a 3.8-inch power swimmer by Berkley. I buy a lot of stuff off Berkley. They're a really good soft plastic company. This is electric shad, and then this is the same thing, but instead it's in green pumpkin. All right, now this is my crappie stuff. I've a little bit more of the cicada lures, and then this is some hand tied by one of my friends at school. Just some weightless hair jigs, marabou hair jigs. Here's small swimmers. I don't use these a whole lot, but whenever I do, I usually catch a couple small fish. Here's this is by Mr. Crappie, but I'm sure you guys have fished this before. These are really good baits, especially for vertically jigging. Here's my tubes. That's really good too. And here's my Mr. Twister curly tails. These are very versatile baits. But the only reason these aren't in the Catch 'em All box is simply because these are soft plastic, and I don't really like having soft plastics in boxes anymore, except for this box. I just did because I don't want to put a bunch of these small soft plastics in one bag. All right, here's some more soft plastics, like I said. This is a 4-inch crawfatty by Bobby Lane, but it's from Berkley. These aren't bad, but I never did good on them. I think it's because their body's a little bit too big. Here's some old lizards by Riverside Lures. I heard that they went into Yum. So, yeah. Here's like these Sluggos, they're called. I've never even used these before. More Sluggos. So apparently whoever bought these in my family, because these were given to me, likes Sluggos. These are some cheap no rigs by Lunker Hunt. They're not bad, but I've never done good on them. Here's some more miscellaneous soft plastics, just curly tails and all kind of weird stuff. Here's my old stuff. Whenever I bought some lures, I put them in a tackle box, like I said, and then I just put them in bags because that's just wasting tackle box space. Here's a floating mouse tail by Berkley. Again, best soft plastic manufacturer on the earth. They're cheap, they're catch fish, and then they have a good blend with them, so they're durable and they have good action to them. I haven't caught a whole lot of stuff with this, maybe like one creek chub or something like that. More Sluggos. And then here's those crawfatties, I think they're called, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just a different color. But again, I've never done really good on them. Here, I'll pull one of these out. They're not a bad bait. They have pretty good action on them. And I'm sure, again, this is whenever I didn't really understand how to Texas rig or even finesse fish. I was fishing these way too fast and with like about 5-foot hops on them. They should have a big body on them. I think that's what deters the little ones from biting. Where like a pit boss has that smaller, slim body with those 4 tentacles. So even if fish grab one of these, like a fish grabs this and rips it off, you can still have 3 left. You know, you wouldn't think that he has very good action on them, just being a slim piece like that. This is extremely good action. All right, that's everything that's going to be in the tackle that I carry around maybe daily. That's like my main use tackle. Now I'm going to go to big stuff for stripers and anything, really. Any big fish. All right, this is going to be the big stuff for stripers, big bass, stuff like that. This is by Lost Creek. This is by Fisherman's Warehouse, or no, I can't remember, but I'll put it in the video what it is. It's a 4.8-inch pro swimmer. It actually has some pretty good action on it. It's a big swim bait for stripers, stuff like that. But we kind of missed a striper bite this year, so I didn't get to use this stuff. This is the jig head that you'd put them on. It's just by Offshore Angler, which is Bass Pro Shops saltwater gear. Big flukes. As you can see, some Magnum Super Fluke White Pearl. I've heard these are actually kind of good for bass, like big bass, but we never used them. I'm sure these have extremely good action, just like the other flukes. And you might have seen these, Strike King Rage Swimmer, 5.75 inches. Now this is a little bit, I didn't realize this at the beginning, but it has that like translucent pearl flash on the bottom and then the white on the top. Not like these, where it's the other way around. So I'm sure it will still work good, but I just didn't notice that whenever I first bought these. But again, these would probably have extremely good action since they're by Strike King, which is another extremely good soft plastic brand. And now we're going to get on to the big jerk baits. This is not actually my box, this is my dad's box. But we all kind of use it, so I kind of clarify this stuff as my own. Or not my own, but as ours. You just have big Rapalas. I think this is by... I'm not quite sure, but I think it's by Cotton Cordell, if I would have to say something with it. Another big Rapala. I've actually caught a really nice smallmouth. I'll post the picture here. Another more jerk baits. We actually found this while we were fishing a reservoir. Found this jerk bait right here. And this reservoir only has trout, or at least what we suspect to be trout. So maybe there's some giants hiding and someone just knew this. This was right by Broken Rod, too. Another big Rapala. This is a double-sided tackle box. This is the Clown. This is a pretty good reputation for catching some monster striper. Fire Tiger, a big musky one. Another just oh no, these are actually Rebel, I think. No, this is by Storm. Actually, I read it upside down. This is by Storm. I'm not sure what this one is, but it looks pretty good. Another Storm swim bait. Jerk bait, maybe, I'm not sure. And then this is probably the biggest, this is the most fish catching one that we've had so far. And this is Vampire. And this does really good. Alright, thank you guys for watching this far into the video. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe so I can keep growing this channel. Alright, as you can see behind me, all of the miscellaneous gear. This is my dog. It's being bad. This is all the gear that I have. Fly rod, bass stuff, camera gear, trout, crappie, fly, more fly. And these are my 3 rods. Again, this is just an overcap if you kind of forgot, which I'm sure you guys haven't. But I've spent a lot of money on fishing gear, as you see right here. And I would say it could have been spent better, but let's be honest, it couldn't have. It's fishing gear. You always need more and better. You know what I mean? I didn't think of this beforehand, but now I have to clean all of this up. Well, wish me luck, guys. All right, I guess I better get to this. Oh, boy.